Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of the Creo. Uh, I hope by now all of you have access to Creo and all of you know the basics like how to open up the part mode, what are the planes and things like that, like the basics. Today we are going to make some parts using the part mode obviously, and by using two most widely used commands inside Creo, which are Revolve and Extrude. We are trying to make some parts using those. We are going to make a sort of a bracket using only extrude, and then we are going to make some glass sort of shapes or maybe some vases using Revolve. uh, let's start making. So the first step we always need to do is to select the working directory, what I'm doing right now. So select the working directory wherever you need it to be, and then I'm going to open up a new part. I'm going to name it as bracket, and uncheck use default template always when you have to define the system of units. So I want to, okay, so the bracket already exists, so let's name it bracket new. Oh, illegal characters. Space bar is an illegal character over here in Creo, so you cannot use space bars. And millimeter Newton second part solid ABS, this one, and press OK. Now, once inside the new window, let's this sort of part we are going to be making. Just forget about the dimensions for now. So this would be a sort of a part we would be making over here. So like there are many ways to make it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use only extrude command over here. Using revolve command, these things can be made pretty much more easily. I'm going to use only extrude and extrude cut. So my plan is to start from this point. I will make the base and I will make these hinges, and then on the top I will make this. Let's start making this. Yeah, and so this is like wherever you are trying to make any new thing, any new design, plan your design first, like first what you are gonna make, and then how you are going to take it forward. Planning would make your work much more easier. So I'm going to start with this plane and sketch, and now it is not perpendicular to me, so the sketch view tab under setup. Some of you might have this tab a little bigger, or some of you might have a little smaller, but this symbol is going to be always towards this side, towards the left side, extreme left, and it would always look like this. So sketch view, I'm going to make a center rectangle and give it the dimensions. So this dimension is somewhat around 80, and this one is 80 plus 20 plus 20. And when I press OK and extrude that and extrude it to the given height, which is 15, I have my base ready. Now I can work on this, and now like this thing, I can make this thing over the top of this, and these on the bottom. Let's start making those. So I'm going to select one surface and I'm going to go to sketch. Okay, let's make this upper one first. So the upper one has a diameter of 80 and 60, so I'm going to draw two circles, and later on I can give them dimensions. So this thing should be 80 towards the very edge, and this thing should be 60, and I can press OK. I can extrude that to the given height, which is 20 in my case. Now we have something like this. Now we have to create this hole, which is 30 millimeters in diameter. So let's start sketching on the surface again. I would go again over here on this surface and sketch it. And this time I'm going to sketch a circle again. I can use a whole command, but I'm rather trying to use only I'm going to tell you how to use the whole command, but over here I'm going to be using only extrude and extrude cut. I'm just trying to tell you like to show you the versatility of this command and how you can use it. And this diameter is 30, so I'm going to just go for 30, and I'm going to extrude cut it. So I'm going to extrude it on the other side and make sure that just move material is selected. And from over here I can select to next. So if I make anything over here, this extrude command doesn't mess up with that one. Now we have to draw those ribs sort of thing for the bracket. For that purpose, I'm going to draw on this side. It would be easier for me to draw on this side this whole thing rather than drawing it over here. And then for example, let's look at the picture. Just forget about the dimensions for now. So if I start making it from here, I would have to make this thing separately, a square form or rectangular, and then have to cut this out. But if I draw it at this point, I can just like make it as it is using just extrude pull. So let's make that. I'm going to select this surface, sketch, and sketch view. Now I want to use this line as my reference because the rib is starting from this point. So but I cannot really draw a line at the very center sometimes. So what I can do is, especially the apps anywhere people, you would not be able to screen grab at some points maybe, and sometimes you are able to depending on your internet connection. I can always select these references. The references pane is in the setup pane, reference command. These reference lines are just for there when you're working with them. Your mouse would easily snipping on these, and they would not include in any of your CAD model, like any of your CAD drawing later on when you're like generating 2D drawings. It would not be visible in there. This is just for you, to help you out in making these drawings. And once I am happy with all the references I have, I can just close it. Now let's make the other one, which is a rectangle, not the center rectangle. Let's make it using a corner rectangle. We know that the total height of this thing is what? Just once. So yeah, the total dimension of this rectangle should be 50 of this and plus 40 of the radius of this arc, because this is 80, so the whole diameter of this circle should be 80 and the radius should be 40. So this height should be 90. And then we can draw a line for just our reference, which is at 50. So we can draw that circle. You can make the use of arc or any other command, like whatever you find easier at that particular point. So I find that circle would be easier for me, and it made me realize the problem that this line is not till the very end. So I'm just going to delete these and I'm going to remake that. So over here and like this, and make it 90. Let's make a circle. Now I am sure that okay, this dimension was exactly 90 because the circle is touching all the three sides. Now as soon as I'm done with this line, I should always delete that, otherwise it's gonna mess up with my drawing. Now this is not a closed surface and this is not the shape we wanted, so I'm going to use delete segment over here. to delete all the not required segments. And we have a closed surface. Now we can extrude that on the other side just by pressing on this arrowhead or by clicking over here, and give it a depth of 20. And I can do the same thing on the other side. We can mirror that obviously, but over here I'm just trying to use extrude, so I need this line and this line as my reference, and again the sketch view. Now we have these as a reference, so we can take this too. We don't have to worry about much about the dimensions. We can just follow up the lines because we are going to make the same thing over here. So instead of using a rectangle, I'm using a line this time. And I'm going to make an arc, and I can delete this line. And when I extrude that on the other side with 20, our bracket is almost ready. Now the only thing we need is a hole over here of 32 millimeter of diameter, which we can make by sketching, sketch view, and let's select our references as this circle because we need the center of this circle. And let's make a circle of 32 millimeter diameter, and then we can extrude that, remove material on the other side, and in the options we can select through all, so it's gonna go through all of these, and we have our bracket. And also you can turn these turn the plane on and off from over here if you want to, like whatever. For example, if I need just axis, I can control the axis. If I just need points, I can just turn on the points, or if I just need the planes, or I can set, by default it would be selected as all. And yes, when you have to save the part, you can always press Ctrl and S to save it, and then you can reopen it whenever you want to. So this was all about extrude and extrude cut, how to make part using that. Now let's talk about another function, which is revolve. Let's make a new part for that. Okay, new part. I would name it as revolve. And just select millimeter Newton second part solid ABS. Now in this new window, let's start for example, let's start with with the basic shapes first. For example, we have to make any sort of cylinder, any cylinder or any cylindrical shape. We can use the revolve command. So for using the revolve command, we would be needing something like we would be needing one axis around which our shape is going to revolve, and the shape which is going to revolve around that axis. Let's do it, which would make things more clear. Selecting the plane, sketch view. So the first thing I need to do is to provide a central axis around which our shape is going to revolve. So I'm going to place a center line over here, and let's make a simple rectangle over here, right? So a rectangle, a shape, axis, and I press OK, and I press on revolve. It would revolve it, and I can choose the angle I want it to revolve on, right hand, left hand, whatever, and like for whatever angle I want it to revolve. And in this way you can revolve like even very very complex shapes. For example, let's go back and let's even edit this sketch. Let's make a glass out of same thing. Like let's go complex gradually. So we didn't had any base for this, so let's delete these to make it a closed surface. And now when we revolve it, let's try to have more fun with this. So let's make the use of parent-child relationship over here. I'm just going to go back and not delete the revolve and edit the sketch over here. So let's just delete this, all this, and let's try to make something a bit more complex maybe. I'm trying to include as many geometrical shapes as I can over here. So we are going to place some arcs over here. Well, let's make it something like this, and because we need it to be a closed shape, so let's place some fillets over here. Now when I press OK, this should revolve all across that axis and like this to make a shape like this. And also I can just go back and edit the revolve feature to make it move at whatever angle I want to. And I can also go for thicken sketch, and I can use the thicken sketch option to instead give it a thickness rather than a solid object, and you can define the thickness from over here. These two commands, revolve and extrude, these are like the backbone of the part mode in any CAD software. Like it's not just about Creo, it's about any other CAD software. These are the commands you are going to use like much more than any of the other. These are the base commands, so I would suggest you to practice a lot about them. As last time I have suggested you to like try to make things up by your own self, like try to make out for example, now you have learned revolve and extrude both. Try to make a lamp out of it, a bedside lamp. It would be a nice project for you, and that's pretty much it. Next time we are going to go through some more detailed CAD commands. For example, we are going to see what these commands do, and maybe something over here, maybe some helical sweep or sweep commands. We would be doing that in the next class, and we would also be, for example, like in this part, we made these two parts separately, wherever if we use this mirror command, we can just simplify, copy this part as if it is exactly the same. Over here we can just make only one part, and we can copy it on the other side. We can make one feature and copy on the other side, and then we have pattern features which we would be doing later on in these sessions. So that's pretty much it for this session. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in the sessions.